So, the first talk is going to be with Imam Abu Mahdi, who is the director of the Manassas Mosque. The Manassas Mosque was established and it was open, I think it's 1 Central Street. He can give you the address. It's nice, it's one of the first places I visited here in the county. So, without further ado, I bring you Imam Mahdi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Taliban, among us, brothers and sisters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you, all of us, that we have come together and then we share our thoughts. Since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Masjid وَلَا تَتَبَنُوا أَحَدًا. Masjid belongs to Allah. Therefore, we say, Ya Allah, we want to come together to learn the words that you have taught us. In the meantime, many thanks to our Christian fellows, hopefully we will learn from it. Since the month of Sha'ban, which is the month that it was before the month of Ramadan was almost coming to the end, maybe another 9 days, we are going to the month of Ramadan. And I would like to ask you some questions before I start. The question is, please let me know, especially from the youth, how do you know the month of Ramadan starts? Don't say the calendar, don't say the time schedule, don't say none of this. How do you know the month of Ramadan starts? Who knows? Yes, you? How do you know? You look at the heaven that you have, thank you very much. The heaven will give you the moon, and it says it is the time to start. Sometimes we don't see the moon, unfortunately, they might say, oh, it was next day, it was this day, it was that day. Well, that is the reason that the Eid will become a little bit spiritual. That is nothing wrong. How do you know from what time to what time you fast? How do you know? By the what? So the sun of the heaven will tell you, right? The sun will tell you it is Fajr. كلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل. So Fajr and night is determined by the sun. The third question from you is, the Quran that is revealed on the month of Ramadan. My question from you is, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how old was he when he went to the Ghar of Haram? Anybody knows? 40 years old. And how old was he when the revelation was finished? 63 years old. So the 23 years of revelation, then how come it says month of Ramadan is Quran revealed? Was 23 years month of Ramadan? No. Right? So that then the next part of the Quran is إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. We have revealed this Quran in one night, لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ cannot be 23 years, nor 29 days or 30 days. So all of that is correct, if inshallah ta'ala with the help of Allah, we put it in perspective tonight, together. You know that when the Quran started, with the name of the 5 ayat of the surah of Allah, 96, it told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. So he actually, I will give you the bottom line and explain it to you word by word. He said, establish the Holy Quran with the name of Lord that had created you. Had created insan, not bashar, not nas, the humanity that we are part of each other and they eat law book, the manual, the constitution. Establish the Quran that your Rabb is Akram, the highest of the nobility, noble. That is why we have a noble Quran. الذي علم بالقلم, that taught man by pen. The only difference between human being and us is that we have a pen, but the rest of the creatures don't have it. Whatever that we have is due to the pen. Pen puts the mind of the other people into the pieces of paper. The paper remains. The mind will become gone, and we use it again and again. Whatever technology that we have is due to the pen. If there was no pen, human would never reach to such a high level. The reason that we are in such a high level is because of the pen. We have inherited all the knowledge of the previous one due to the pen. Now, Allah al-Insan taught us what we do not. Therefore, who are we? We are the product of the previous people. What are we going to do? Leave something for the future. The month of Ramadan is a month that is going to tell us what to do, how to do it. Now with that, briefly, then we go to the Quran that it was 23 years old. 23 years it took for the Prophet Muhammad to receive it. He was 62 years old. When the course was complete, Ikmal of the Deen came. So Quran was established in 23 years. Then it says we put it on 30 juz, 30 parts. For who? For Shahr Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, that the Quran will be coming to us continue. Which Ramadan? This Ramadan, which is 9 days from now, the Ramadan of 1,000 years ago, 1,400 years ago, or the Ramadan yet to come. All Ramadans, 30 juz of the Quran, will be recited either in Tarawih or in the Halakha, a juz a day, until we complete it. And then, if 2/3 of the Quran is complete, that means 2/3 of the month of Ramadan is over. That means 2/3 of my knowledge have been increasing. Everybody knows there is a big difference between Qara'a and Talawa. I don't know, I hope that you know. Qara'a is reading anything. Talawa is reading something that it elevates you. If you look at the dictionary, the way that it says, كل تلاوة قراءة وليس كل قراءة تلاوة. Any reading will not elevate you, but Quran when you read it elevates you. That's what you call it talawa. Now, 30 days of the month of Ramadan, we read the Quran, which is revealed by God. So first we say, the moon of the heaven, the sun of the heaven, the Quran that came from the heaven to us. And then, who is the instructor of all of that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of all of us. So in reality, that is why it is called Shahrullah, the month of Allah. Every month belongs to Allah. Every moment of our life belongs to Allah. How come that became Shahrullah? By the movement of the moon, the duration of the course stopped. How many days is it? Ask him. Maybe 29 days, maybe 30 days. We don't know. The sun of the heaven every day. From what time to what time? Again, we don't know. You know, every day is different from each other. Sun is not always at, like for example, today, 3:45 Fajr. It is not. It changes a little bit. Or the Maghrib is not 8:40. It changes a little bit. So we are really putting ourselves from this dusty earth to heaven above, to say, I am the product of heaven. You know very well that. Every bite of this food that you ate, it is from heaven, isn't it? The rice will never become rice unless the heaven moves and gives the power to the earth, and the earth becomes fruit and vegetable for all of us. Who are we? The dust with the help of the heaven. The dust that became all that you have eaten, whatever we have around us. But dust alone is impossible. No. The dust with the help of heaven became food, fruit, vegetable for us and for the animals. So we use the meat, we use the chicken, it's the same dust that is converted to the food of the animal. Who am I? I am the property of heaven. How do I return myself to heaven? Shahr Ramadan. It is the time that when the month of Ramadan comes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. I want to make the things easy on you to recognize. I don't want to make it tough on you. So the month of Ramadan, when it comes, it doesn't want to make us tough to understand who am I. Suddenly, especially this Ramadan that is going to come, the days are going to be too long. You're going to be thirsty. As soon as you say, I'm thirsty, then your thirst is replaced by the power of Allah. My command replaces your thirst. Is that thirst only my mouth? Is it only my lips? No, the whole particle of your body says thirst. Water, water, water. And that water is replaced by who? No water. So all of the particle of your body goes closer and closer to iftar, to reality, to your fitra, to your originality, to the way that Allah made all of us. Father of Samawat wal Ard. He is the one that He put every particle of yours together according to the way that He wanted to. So at the end of the day, I take my quiz. My quiz says, today I follow the moon of the heaven. I follow the sun of the heaven. I read the chose of the Quran of the heaven. And I obeyed in totality the law of the Holy Quran and my Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when I get to my iftar, I am a man of fitra, where Allah was my instructor in all aspects of my life, and I become what He wanted me to be. That is the day, end of the 2/3 of the Quran is going to be finished. When 2/3 is over, my knowledge has increased so much. My obedience to the law of Allah became so huge. I am no longer the one that I was at the beginning of the Ramadan. After all, 2/3 of the Quran had elevated me so much that I know the power belongs to Allah. The knowledge belongs to Allah. I belong to Allah. All of you belong to Allah. Then you know what is a qadr again. End of this. I have the dictionary of the words that it is explained for something that wants to pick up later on. Qadr, evaluation. How much? Who are we? We do not recognize the power of Allah within us unless I go ahead and practice it and come to it. You know that your hunger is no longer hunger, because if you are hungry and Allah says don't eat, the power of Allah replaces your hunger. Thirsty, don't drink. The power of Allah replaces, or the command of Allah replaces your hunger. Day by day passes. 20 days has passed. If 19, probably if the month of Ramadan is 29 days, 29 days has passed. 19 days is passed. 19 juz of the Quran has been recited. So I know there is a lot of words in that elevated, changed me. Maybe that is my pattern. I came to evaluate myself. Why didn't I know what was happening to me? Maybe 1,000 months that I became 83 years and 4 months. You divide it to 12. I'm an old man and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the power of Allah. I didn't know who I was. Suddenly one night I know who I am. As soon as I know who I am, that is my pattern. Better than 1,000. If not, I read 21 juz of the Quran. If not, 23 juz of the Quran, 25 juz of the Quran, 27 juz of the Quran. And if I get to my qadr, that means I have come much closer to Allah, and my Ramadan has started. Ramadan. I will go into that one to see how it fits in these categories. And if I have graduated from this course, and I have reached my Laylatul Qadr, then what do? I go to the graduation time, which is called Eidul Fitr. Eidul, you know what it means? Return me to my fitra, returning individual. Oh, that is not al fitra. Return me to my whatever I was supposed to be. And alhamdulillah, I am what you want me to be. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha. So you chant all of these beautiful words that Allah, after all of these things that happen, see what we have done. If you take the month of Ramadan, which it comes from the word of Ramadan, the peak of the sun of the noon is called Ramadan. If you look at the dictionary, it tells you that Ramadan the heat of the sun made the earth heated up. When is it the peak of the sun? When it is noontime. Ramadan is continuation of the peak. For those brothers and sisters that are here and they speak Arabic, as you know, when you put it in the context of Ta'alan, means continuation of moving to something. Ramadan, continuously advancing yourself to a higher level. How do you advance? Every day I'm advancing. Every day I move from what I am to what He wants me to do. Yet, every year I'm advancing too, to the next year. Yet continuously, I am going to become what He wants me to be. So what did I do? So I took the course by the movement of the moon on the heaven. My classes was every day by the movement of the sun from what time to what time. My lesson plan is one choice of the Quran every day as I read it. My instructor is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He sent the moon and the sun and the Quran to me. And I take the quiz on my nafs, on my desire. What did I do end of the day? How far did I achieve? Iftar. Don't take the word iftar as only attacking the date, but rather thinking about my fitra, my particles, my being that is put together. If it is put together by Him, then I better be what He wants me to be, rather than what I want to be. And if I move into that direction, then my Ramadan is a reality. Otherwise, many of the ahadith that we have from Rasulullah as he says, woe to us that from the month of Ramadan we only had a little bit of hunger and thirst. Woe to us if the month of Ramadan comes, you say, whoa, and again, no sandwich, no coffee, no break, none of those things. I wish that they finishes first. No, you see, that means you didn't come to Ramadan. You were forced to be whatever that you were supposed to be. No? But for those that they know, when the Ramadan is coming to be finished, they're all in tears. They're all saying, Ya Allah, what a blessing that you have done to me, that according to the ahadith that we have, here of course Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the way he put it, he says, that of course here, I will not say too much of the Arabic part of it, that in this Ramadan you go to become the guest of Allah. Every day I'm the guest of Allah. What do you want me to do? Don't sleep all night. Wake up. I'm changing my menu, yes, because you have slept 11 months. This time you wake up. Okay. Then what? You are my guest. Have me on you rather than your desire. Which is what? No food, no drink, no spouse. Plus 9 things that you probably know. It is forbidden to us. Then, what else do you want me to do? Then follow exactly the command of Allah giving you during the whole day, during the whole night. So when I elevate myself to the higher level in the month of Ramadan, then I carry that to the rest of 11 months, which means in reality, Allah wants to make it easy on me, not hard on me. He made it easy to worship me. He made it easy that your command is governing my life rather than I myself. He made it easy for me that it is not difficult to be thirsty if you are giving me the command and it is with me. And I wish it would have become a little tougher and harder so I pass the test better. That test will remain with me, with barakah, with all the good evil. He says on that day, in the month of Ramadan, you probably have heard this beautiful hadith. He says, all of the gate of the hell is shut down to you. Why? Because you're no longer against the will of Allah. You're doing exactly what He wants you to do. Don't let that be opened up to you after the month of Ramadan. The whole gate of paradise is open to you. Don't let that become shut on you after the month of Ramadan. And then the shayateen, the Satans, are locked up back in the month of Ramadan. Do not let that Satan be free to you after the month of Ramadan. Again, this is what it says. You should probably know it, that the month of Ramadan is the only month that really I am so powerful against the shaitan. All of the masajid is filled up. All of us really are taking care of the others, helping out, giving food. And that is where it says the paradise is open to you. Don't let that be shut down on you. And then ask Allah, don't make that to be continuously on my life for another 11 months. I have already elevated myself from a level to a higher level. I don't want to go back to that level. And I wait until the next Ramadan comes. When it comes, I am moving again higher and higher and higher. In order to follow the command of Allah in my life, in order for me to become what He wants me to be rather than what I want to be. Allow me to open up a parenthesis here to see when it says ash-shaytan, no matter who that. The shayateen are locked up on that one, on you. Is shaitan something that we have seen it? Anybody have seen it? Some of us will say no, because it's got a horn, his teeth is hanging out, and he has a second reason. No, that's not shaitan. That's the Hollywood explanation of shaitan. But what is shaitan? Satan. You probably know. Satan is anything that it goes to my desire and tells me to go against the will of Allah. As soon as this happens, I look at the mirror, there is one Satan. That means against the will of Allah. Inna nafsa la'ammara. Can you do the Quran again? Inna nafsa la'ammara bis-su' illa ma rahima. This my nafs is ordering me to do some crime. Allah doesn't tell me go steal. Who tells me to do that? Satan. Why does he tell you that? It is on my nafs. And then on that month of Ramadan, that is locked up. Don't let that open up to you. Many of the concept of the month of Ramadan, which inshallah ta'ala after we hopefully in the time that our dear brother speaks, if there is a question and answer, gladly I will be in your presence, and I'm really thankful to all of you, thankful especially to Darulnoor that have accepted us to be in this masjid. May Allah will please with my dear sister Taliba, that he put the program together with the help of all of you. Jazakallah khair, inshallah. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Takbir! 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 And for our visitors, when we say takbir, we're asking folks to respond by saying, God is great. So when they say Allahu Akbar, we're saying Allah is great. And that is because Almighty God gave Imam Abu Mahdi talent to speak and to give us these words in ways that we can understand. So we're congratulating him, but we're thanking Allah at the same time. So now the Imam here at Darulnoor, Imam Jamal Gummas, is going to say a few words, and then we'll open it up for question and answer.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, inshallah, I'd like to tell our dear brother Mahdian, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him, the good speech, one of the best speech that he has given about the Ramadan, inshallah. And hopefully most of us will get some benefit from it, inshallah. As you know, every year Muslims all over the world and from all ethnic and economic backgrounds, they begin fasting from dawn to sunset every day during the most blessed month in the Islamic tradition known as Ramadan. But what makes Ramadan a blessed month? Why do Muslims fast during this month? What are the spiritual benefits and fastings? All these questions are addressed in this article that introduces you a month-long spiritual journey that over When we look at, we have one of the ayah from Quran, especially from Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 185, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, the month of Ramadan is that in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and criteria. So whoever sights the new moon of the month, let him fast it, and whoever is ill or on journey, then an equal number of other days. Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship, and wants for you to complete the period and to glorify Allah for that to which He has guided you, and perhaps you will be grateful. The entire month of Ramadan is a celebration of the Quran's revelation, which is described as a guide and mercy for those who do good. And Ramadan celebrates Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy by which He has sent a guiding light in the Quran that leads human life towards the path of good and virtue and protect the human soul from evil and vice. And Muslims show their gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His guidance by abstaining from eating, drinking, and sexual intimacy during Ramadan as a way of coming closer, to Allah and developing a deep inner awareness of Allah's presence in life. This external mechanism of feeling Allah's presence leads the soul to do right even under life's most difficult situations, and protect the soul against wrongdoing even when it's an easier or more tempting path to take. This is why the Quran switches to a most intimate relationship between Allah and His servant immediately following the passage on fasting in Ramadan, especially the ayah 186. The passage is from 183 to 185. Immediately after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the one of the ayah, which is said, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. When my slaves ask you about me, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I am close indeed. I respond to the prayer of the supplicant when one calls on me. So let them respond to me and let them believe in me that may go the right way. Which is this ayah. If you want to, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very close to you. You do not have to put people between you and Him. He's very close. Just open your hands and He will respond to your call, inshallah. When the soul enters into a station of gratitude and submission to its Lord through fasting, there is a recognition that life has been given by Allah, a gift, and trust to be used for good works that reflects Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, compassion, love,
generosity, and so on. In fact, the Quran says the natural inclination of our souls is to submit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will by having sincere belief in one God and doing righteous acts of worship. And as such, the very concept of sin in the Islamic tradition is known as an act of oppression against one's own soul for forcing it into a state that is antithetical to its very nature and created purpose, among many other verses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the Surah 25 and the ayah verse number is 43, أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ أَفَأَنْتَ تَكُونُ عَلَيْهِ وَكِيلًا. When a soul persists in sinning, it becomes a slave to its own lower desires and a prisoner of its own passions. And fasting then seeks to free the soul from these shackles by suppressing the lower self of desire and raising the God consciousness soul of giving that naturally aspires towards good. And by depriving the soul of life's basic necessities for 10 hours, one is able to teach the soul self-restraint and self-control from such evils as anger, revenge, lying, stealing, and sexual immorality, and so on. This is why the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that when any one of you is fasting a day, he should neither indulge in obscene language, nor should he raise his voice. And if anyone insults him or tries to quarrel with him, tries to fight with him, he should say, I am fasting. The Prophet ﷺ also warned Muslims not to make fasting, and Prophet ﷺ, they had so many hadiths actually, he gave us a good advice about that. And one of the most important qualities that fasting seeks to develop within an individual is humility before God and God's creation. And hunger and thirst cause one to realize that if it were not for God's mercy and sustenance, one would be in a most difficult and undesirable state of affairs. Fasting is humbling experience, which is an important characteristic of the righteous soul. For false pride and arrogance can never live side by side with sincere piety. The act of fasting, therefore, also provides the fortunate, wealthy members of society to experience for a time the pain and suffering which millions of people go through every day without food, water, and other basic necessities of life. Fasting bridges the gap between rich and poor, sustained and fulfilled and needy. This experience should then inspire compassion and mercy, which is manifested by generosity of wealth and time to help those in need. Muslims are encouraged, especially during this month, to go out and feed the hungry and to spend their wealth on good causes, such as building schools, hospitals, and soul kitchens. They can build the kitchens for the poor and needy. And in the tradition of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, may the mercy and the blessings of Allah be upon him, whose generosity would increase tenfold during Ramadan. Ramadan is a different month. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies your rewards. And in the Islamic tradition, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises to return all acts of goodness and generosity in this last month by 10 times. Both in this world and in the hereafter, inshallah. Due to blessing and reward associated with Ramadan, Muslims are encouraged to share their food with their neighbors and to invite guests to their home to begin the fast at sunrise and for breaking of the fast at sunset. Muslims are also encouraged to significantly increase their worship to Allah during this month. And therefore special prayers are offered in every masjid, well into the night, with most masjids packed with worshippers. And even in this masjid, when you come, you will see every night not less than 700 or 800, sometimes over 1,000 people. Even last 10 days, you're going to see over 1,200 or 1,300 people in this masjid. Upstairs and downstairs is full, and sometimes you cannot find even space. And not even this masjid, so many other masajids you will see, because the Muslims in the month of Ramadan, they dedicate themselves to worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the most Muslims are therefore very sad to see the month of Ramadan go, and its return is highly anticipated well in advance of its arrival. In conclusion, Ramadan is celebration of Allah's guidance to humanity through the Quran, which is guide for doing good and warning against evil. And in order to bring the soul into harmony with the Quranic ideals of belief and virtue, fasting is prescribed a way for individuals to come closer to Allah and to lift their souls to a new high of piety. In doing so, the entire human body is able to transform in itself into an agent of positive moral and social change that seeks to replace miserliness with generosity, and anger with patience, revenge with love, and war with peace, in effect replacing good with evil in the world. And a saying by Allah transmitted through Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, known as a Hadith al-Qudsi, the best explains the transformation that takes place in an individual through good acts, which in part are inspired by fasting. And the most beloved thing with which my servants come nearer to me is what I have enjoined upon him, and my servant keeps on coming closer to me through performing extra righteous deeds till I love him. And when I love him, I become the hearing with which he hears, and seeing with which he sees, a hands with he acts, and legs with which he walks. And if he asks of me, I give him, and if he asks for my protection, I protect him. Before I finish, inshallah, I would like to just mention one of the two hadiths about the virtue of this blessed month. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, my ummah were giving 5 things for Ramadan which were not given to anyone except them. The smell from the mouth of fasting person is more sweeter to Allah than a fragrant smell of musk. The second one, on their behalf, the fish in the sea seek forgiveness for the fasting persons until they break their fast. And the third one, Allah prepares and decorates a special garden in Jannah every day, and then says to it, the time is near when faithful servants shall cast aside the grave trials of the world and come to you. The fourth one, on this month for them, evil-minded shaitan is chained. Shaitan is chained, and so not to reach unto those evils to which they normally reach during other months besides Ramadan. They will have chained. And the last one, on the last night of Ramadan, they are forgiven. The Sahaba, thereupon they inquired, after this talk of Prophet ﷺ, they inquired, O Messenger of Allah, is that last night Laylatul Qadr? Prophet ﷺ replied, no, but it is only right that a servant should be given his reward on having completed his service. And this hadith is reported by Ahmad and by Bazar and Bayhaqi. And then Ka'b ibn Ujra radiallahu anhu reported another hadith from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that, come near to the minbar. He told him, come near to the minbar. And we came near to the minbar. When he ascended the first step of the minbar, he said, Ameen. When he ascended the second step of the minbar, he said again Amin. And when he ascended the third step, and he said again Amin. And when he descended, we said Amin means Amen. It's the same thing. And when he descended, we said, "Oh Rasulullah, we have heard from you today something which we never heard before." He said that when I ascended the first step, Jibreel, which is Gabriel, appeared before me, and he said, "Woe to him who found the blessed month of Ramadan and let it pass by without gaining forgiveness." And he said that, I said, "Amin." Oh Allah, accept. And upon that, and I said, "Amin," when I ascended the second step, and he said, "Woe to him before whom your name is mentioned and then does not read through, does not say, send blessings to you." And he said, "Amin," which is in our tradition, whenever the name of Prophet Muhammad is mentioned, we will say, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And I replied, "Amin." And the third one, he said that when I ascended the third step, he said, "Woe unto the person in whose presence both parents or one of them attain old age and is not, through failure to serve them, is not allowed to enter Jannah." And he said that, I told him, which is in the tradition as a Muslim, we should treat our parents and show our respect to them, and we should take care of them even till the last moment in their life, because they took care of us, because they were the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought us in this world, and we should always try to show our respect, our love to them, through serving them and asking their needs, taking care of their needs, and till the last moment. I think this was enough for us, because I do not want to make it longer, prolong this speech, but I talked just the spiritual part of the Ramadan, and inshallah I think was not, it didn't cover all, but I think was enough to understand the virtue of this next month of Ramadan, and especially almost 8 days later, we're going to have Ramadan, and subhanAllah, we are looking forward, because we love this month more than any other month, and we are always looking forward, and we make dua, oh Allah, reach us the month of the blessed of Ramadan, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us one of them, inshallah. Thank you so much for coming, everyone, and we are very glad that we have you